All right, day 9, and I'm going to do in this video for Movember the 5-point boundary system by Vicki Tidwell Palmer, and this is in her book Moving Beyond Betrayal. It's a tool that she adapted from the work of Pia Mellody for betrayed partners to set boundaries with their addict partners. And yet it can be used as I just use it as a really good tool for anyone that's done any developmental trauma work, ACA work, codependency, that are looking for a way to communicate what's going on inside of them and set boundaries so they can start to act in their own best interest. So she encapsulates what's this about in this phrase. In order to identify, create, and maintain effective boundaries, you must know your reality, the outcome you want, where you have power to affect change, how to take action, and how to evaluate your results. So this 5-point boundary system, which is copyright to Vicki, is designed to guide you step by step through that boundary setting process. So it starts with step 1, and we've got to identify our reality. Pia Mellody in Facing Codependence said that what in the revised edition, she early on said you've got to set boundaries. It's the most important tool if you've been developmentally traumatized. But in the revised edition, she said if you don't know your reality, you simply can't do that. So you've got to be able to learn to identify what data is happening in the body. Now, for some of us with developmental trauma and complex PTSD, this is difficult. We disassociate away from some of that data. Our body and sensations, our thoughts and feelings are very difficult sometimes to be able to identify. However, this is the task. So the first step is knowing your reality and what is true for you about the issue you want to work on. Your reality is in the present moment is what you're experiencing with your 5 senses: sight, sound, smell, taste, and physical sensations. What you're thinking, your emotions, and you identify your reality by asking 3 simple questions. So the first one is, what did I see, hear, or experience that could be recorded in a video with a video camera? And my understanding of this is they're just trying to get sort of as unbiased as possible. What did we just see without us giving it adjectives that describe it? So instead of when you selfishly took the last muffin, it's when you took the last muffin. We stay with as much data as we can that's just observable. The next thing is, what is my perception or thought, or what do I make up about that data? When I'm working with people that are developmentally traumatized, not betrayed spouses, if you're a betrayed spouse, then you just stay with what you've made up. We've got to stay with that reality. If we want to go a little deeper and see if we've got an hysterical reaction here, then we might want to look at historical data. So what do I make up about you? What did I make up about me? What sort of negative core belief? I am dumb, I am stupid, I am unlovable, I'm unsafe, I'm invisible. What did we make up about me? And it might be, and what did this trigger from my past? If you've got PTSD from developmental trauma, asking that question, what did it trigger, is not asking, well, in the past, has someone taken the last muffin before? We're not looking for that data. We're looking at, out of what I've made up about it, either me or the other person, have I had that in the past? Have I had that experience? And so we look for that bit of data. Then we look at, well, what emotions does it trigger? And so the main key ones are there: anger, pain, guilt, love, shame, fear, passion, joy. These are just the sort of Crayola, the toddler Crayola pack of feelings. But sometimes using simple language to describe and identify what we're feeling is useful. Now, again, for people with developmental trauma, you might want to look at the toxic version of these feelings, because you might have anger, but you're also raging. You might have pain, but you also feel depressed. You might feel guilt, but you feel really sort of isolated and shut down. Love could feel enmeshing. A shame could be a sense of worthlessness, so it's toxic shame. Fear could be an anxiety reaction. Passion could have a real overwhelming lust reaction, and even joy can be experienced as a hysteria. So sometimes these key feelings are great for betrayed spouses. Developmentally traumatized folks would be able to have a look at and get curious about, is the event this big, but my feeling reaction this big? From there, we go into step 2. So we've got the data. What we're looking for now is to identify needs and create your vision. So first of all is, begin by identifying needs currently being met with regard to the situation, needs not currently being met. So okay, out of what just happened, what didn't happen for me, right? Because only I can determine what's true or not true about me. Same goes for you. We need to note the impact of our behavior on others. So here, Vicki is aiming this at betrayed spouses. So we're looking at, well, was there a need for affection, authenticity and genuineness, autonomy and independence, closeness and touch, communication, community, companionship, freedom, harmony, honesty, mutuality and give and take, order and reliability, peace, respect, safety, stability, support, trust. And then here we really need to dig deep, and is there something else here that's not being met? And it's my job to identify it. I mean, one of the things about having interpersonal boundaries is, as an adult person, it's no one else's job to meet my needs. But if I've come out of developmental trauma, then there could be an absolute expectation that somehow, unconsciously, I'm creating these experiences that I'm expecting people to come in and take care of me, when it's actually my job to identify the need and ask for it to be met. So in this boundary system, it helps us do that. What is it that didn't get met for myself? And then we move on to looking at, well, what's my vision with this? Now I know my reality and what's happened. I know what needs I've got that are unmet. After you've identified the needs, ask, what is the outcome I want? And what is my vision with regard to the issue? So your vision should be specific and measurable. For example, I want my partner to call me once a day between 8 and 10 when he or she is out of town. Now that's for betrayed spouses, and this is critical for them. What do we need as a result of this to build safety? When we're a betrayed spouse, it's very clear sometimes what we need. As you're working on codependency, developmental trauma, or ACA issues, adult children of alcoholics and dysfunctional families, sometimes we are trying to find here a vision to set a boundary. What is it that we want with the other person? We mightn't get it and they mightn't give it, but it's our job to identify it and ask it. So we come up with the best version of our vision for this. And this is where, if you've got a sponsor or a therapist, as Pia Melody was saying, checking our skewed thinking with people, checking our reality is really important. And this would be a chance where you could make an outreach call, talk about it at meetings, talk to your sponsor, bring it up in therapy, so you can get clear that we're not setting ourselves up here and asking for something that we should be either taking care of ourselves or are trying to get an unmet childhood need met through this person, right? That all being said, what's your vision? And then she says in step 3, we need to identify the power center. Where have I got power in the situation? So do you have the power to create a result you want without asking for help or making a request? If not, can you create the result you want with the help of someone else? Or does the result require making a request of another person? Or are you powerless to create the result? So it really gets you, and again, you might need to check this out with someone, but have I got the power to create this change? Is this origin? And some partners do. If you're a betrayed spouse, you say, wow, if you do X again, then there's a rigid boundary that I'm going to implement there. And we have got the power to do that. Do I need help from someone else? Do I need to carry this out? Do I need to get some assistance? Do I need to make a request? Do I need the involvement and consent of someone else? Or am I completely powerless? I mean, if someone road raged you at a set of lights and you'll never see them again, you might experience, well, I've got this resentment. I've had this really bad incident. My need for safety wasn't present, but largely I'm going to have to radically accept that that wasn't okay and that there's not much I can do about it. So once we identify where that is, Vicki gets us to go through in this worksheet, and you can get this worksheet from her website. You just send her an email and she will happily send this to you, or it's in her book. So taking action based on your answer to the boundaries solution step 3, do one of the following. So if I have the power to create the outcome, so I need to tick this, what do I need to create this outcome? What have I got to do here? And when will I complete it? She holds you, every little one of these power questions has an accountability time and date, and who do I need to ask help from, and put their name down too, because when we're learning to set boundaries, acting in your own best interest feels like you're doing something wrong. So if we don't hold ourselves accountable, we will just let this go, because our mode of operation will be that old way of doing things, either negatively controlling someone else or just backing out, not acting in our own best interest. So if I have the power to create an outcome, it gives us some tasks there. Oops, I'm going to go back one there. Still getting used to Prezi. If I need to make a request, what is the specific request I need to make? And ask the person if they're willing to. Again, check your thinking out with this. Make sure it's clear. The request must be measurable and clear, and if agreed on and applicable, the step will be completed by. So again, holding us accountable. So if I need to make a request, what is it? And I need to ask that person to be willing to do it. Wow, I'm going to bounce around here, so forgive me, guys. I'm learning. So now let me see what I've got here. Oh yeah, need to make a request, which I've got. This next one here is that one about doing nothing, right? So I release the problem because you're powerless to change it or to choose to do nothing, because nothing's the best course of action, provided you can make this choice without believing you're a victim. So sometimes this might be something that's involved a loved one, but we understand that we can let it go, but we always have to check this thinking out on those occasions, that we're not going into that wounded child victim thinking, that it is something that we can release without much hardship to ourselves. So once we go through that stage, the next thing is boundary solution 5, evaluate the results. With any sort of developmental trauma, largely we just don't act in our own best interest. So as you start to set boundaries, generally it's not uncommon to see people have an attempt at it and then just give up. So she goes through and says, if your boundary work was successful, great. That's counted as a victory. Congratulations. If the boundary missed the mark, did I follow through on the action I committed to in the boundary solution step 4? If not, recommit or reevaluate the action. If I made a request, was the agreement clear? If not, return to boundary solution 4 and revise the request. Was the agreement broken? Was there a boundary violation? If yes, determine how important the issue is to you on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being of greatest importance. This issue is what for you, and this number will help you determine your next steps. The next piece then is, for broken agreements and boundary violations, your options are 1, return to the boundary solution 4 and repeat the request, or request a repair or an amends from the other person. Return to the boundary solution step 4 and take necessary action if possible to create the result you want or get your needs met without the participation of the other person. Return to the boundary solution step 1 and work steps 1 to 4 based on a new issue that's occurred as a result of this violation, or do nothing except powerlessness, provided that you can let yourself go without believing you're a victim. So guys, this was just, like I said, a wonderful tool by Vicki Tidwell Palmer. Moving Beyond Betrayal is the book that is for betrayed partners. This tool, however, I think is a bit of a functional adult, to use one of PM Melody's terms, in a box. It just puts everything together from the ability to know your reality, get the data you need, to then observe the needs and wants that weren't met. Start to look at, where's my power center here? How can I get these needs met? And if I can't, how do I live with it? And then it gives us a really good pathway of how to put that into action, and then how to evaluate those results, so you can come back and circle around and keep going, so we can look after ourselves. Pia says, when we start to act in our own best interest, if we've had developmental trauma, it can take up to 18 months to 2 years before that feels normal. It actually feels more normal to act in the disorder, in the disease, in the old way of doing things and the old defense mechanisms than it does to act in our own best interest. So if this feels difficult, it is, but it's worth it because you're worth it. So be gentle with your heart, and I will be making some catch-up videos because I was studying on the weekend. Keep following my campaign and tune into the Movember page for more videos. Take care.